Okay, show that there's 10 people right here. Scan the audience. See it's everybody.
Yep.
All right, good. And just get in position, please.
Awesome.
Right. Wait, hold on one second. Stop right there. All right, right away to the camera. So there's 10 people. 10 people in here. Oh, looks like another person. Outstanding.
Oh, we got 11 now. Hey, you can
Whoa.
watch my books.
Oh, wow. We're really outstanding now. Outstanding. All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Go.
Thank you for being here today. I'm glad you all could show up. Either it was mandatory. I know you're all very excited. You know, when I first thought when I joined the Army was that being a mechanic would be a very simple job. You know, it was going to be easy. You just change a few parts, nothing extra. But of course, it's never that simple. There are procedures you have to follow when it comes to vehicle parts. Once replaced, a lot of them has to be turned in so you can receive credit, and also so when you send to the manufacturer, they can be refurbished and reused. See, there are 3 simple steps when it comes to turning in parts.
No way.
That involves that all parts have to be clean and they have to be checked for any deficiencies. Second, items have to be properly cleaned and also drained of any grease and fluids. Then all the paperwork must be filled out correctly to the Army standards.
What are the Army standards?
I will get to that at the end of this speech. Now, this may seem like a pain in the butt, but I tell you, it's not that difficult. As your high-speed specialist, I will guide you through the instructions and even have some nice examples right here for you laid out in front of you. Now, if I haven't completely lost you all yet, just try to pay attention, get out of your little daydream world for just a little bit. Thank you. We'll be going on to the first procedure, which involves all parts have to be inspected and checked for deficiencies. All deficiencies must be recorded and identified. The reason why it's important to identify deficiencies is because the manufacturer will be able to, as I said before previously, be able to try to refurbish the part. Also, it will save them the hassle and time to try to figure out what was wrong with the part themselves. Now, since that the fun part was done, we're going to go over to the second stage, which involves, we're going to get a little hand sturdy, which involves cleaning the part and draining from any grease and any fluids. It is very crucial that no dirt or liquid substance is on the item because it will be rejected. You want to make sure you use like a wire brush or a rag to remove any of the dirt or any of the grease. It is best to try to use either a wire brush to try to brush it apart. An example here, try to get some of this dirt off best you can, or if you have a rag, use it to wipe it off, get it nice and clean. Also, if you have a can of degreaser, or also works just as well. And make sure that the part has also been completely drained from any fluids, which transmission fluid, oil, any of it. Because if you go to SSA and you try to turn in the part, and when they inspect it, like I'll use the example of this water pump right here. What they do is they'll get here like a cloth, their hand, and they'll try to go through all the parts here. If they feel any moisture, any kind of dirt or grease, it will be rejected. Basically, it has to be turned in as a brand new part. Even if you didn't receive it in perfect condition, you have to turn it in to them as if it was brand new. All right, now that we got the whole cleaning process done, we're going to move on to the final step. It involves doing the paperwork. There's a few paperwork that is required when turning in these parts. All parts are required to have either a 2765 and a 2400 form. As you see here in your little example page right here, here's an example of a 2765, and also on the page behind it, which the Fed log where you get the information, but also behind the Fed log is the 2404 form. Now I have some examples here how to fill out the blocks that you need, how to take care of it. And see the first block here, you gotta write which is going to, which is 203rd SSA is the people you're returning in the parts. The next box will be, which is your company, your unit that it is coming from. And then you will write here in block 5 is where you write the NSN, the quantity amount, and how many you're turning in. You write down the deficiency, you write down the item number, and also the price and the amount total. So you have let's say more than one of this part, you have quantity 2, you write the original price, and you write in total how much it's going to be total. Then their parts are required to be tagged. Here's an example of an unserviceable tag. Here you just write the NSN, the item description of the part. Here you put in the reason why it's no good, like this one. This is the kit gunner shield. This is incomplete, so we're turning it in. And the condition code in the top, you see right here, they put F for faulty. And if the part was serviceable, you would put B. And you write down the quantity and the unit of issue, which is this will be each. Now we'll put on for if the part is serviceable, you will put in for the tag here serviceable items. And just to make sure if you forget, you want to know what's the difference here, you'll actually say on top of each tag, this one will say serviceable, and this one will have unserviceable. So that way to help prevent confusion. But serviceable items are a little bit easier than unserviceable. All you have to do is just put the NSN, the item description, and just put the reason why you're turning it in. Just either it's excess part, wrong part, whatever the reason is. This just means that the part is either new or it hasn't been used, so it's still good to go. Just make sure you also, in both tags, remember to sign your name, print and signature, and date. Any part that had to be drained from any kind of fluid, which regardless of what it is, and also whether the part has been used or not. So let's say this is a used water pump, but you had to drain it from fluids and stuff. This will require a drainage statement. In your little packet right here, you turn to the few pages, there's a memorandum which says their drainage statement. This one you just have to put the item description, the NSN, and the quantity you're turning in. And make sure that you have the name of your supervisor signed at the bottom. Now once that is complete, to also make sure you verify when you look at your part, that make sure that it has either a serial number or a part identification. If it does not have that, you have to then require the next memorandum, which is behind this one, which is the part identification statement. This one here, once you do your research from FedLogs, you put in your NSN, the quantity, the part number, and also have your supervisor sign the bottom. This statement is basically saying that this part is what it is. This is a water pump. The reason why we have it is because the people you turn it into are not mechanics, and they're not be able to tell the difference between this is a starter or anything else. Now, to help you make sure, this water pump, it has a serial number right here. Now, not every part has a serial number. Also, I've seen some parts that I noticed in most starters, it might have a sticker and a handwritten NSN or a serial number. I'll tell you now, that's going to be unacceptable because anybody could have put that down. That's how SSA will see it. So you're going to require this memorandum stating that that is the item that it says it is. To prevent any hassle. Now we learn how to do the paperwork and turning in parts. We'll just review what we learned. So we learned already that you had to inspect your part for any deficiencies, write it down. If it's cracks, has a bad gasket, whatever the reason is. Or also you need to clean and make sure that your item is completely drained from any fluids. And you also have your drainage statement. And 3, that you have all the paperwork that you need that is required. which is your memorandums, which I show you the example of your draining statement part identification, your 2765 and your 2404s. And congratulations, you now have the knowledge to turn in parts. Now, just remember though that when you try to turn in parts, you might make some mistakes and it might take you a few tries to get it down pat. So do not get furious. At least you have been given the guidance you needed to turn in parts. Unlike myself, when I started doing this, I had no guidance or instruction. I just basically had to just learn through experience and have to know what's right and wrong. So I hope my teaching today will help you have the confidence that you all need to turn in parts without any doubts.
Cool.
Cool.